We're also talking with the candidates for Marion County prosecutors. The abortion issue has been a big topic in that race this year, with Marion County prosecutor Ryan Mears again saying he would choose not to prosecute abortion cases within Marion County. That topic coming up again with new amendments added to the bill Thursday to deal with that very issue.
We're still waiting to see exactly what kind of changes might still be made to the bill, but the latest current version that was amended by the Senate on Thursday night did have a clause that would give the Attorney General concurrent prosecutorial power to file charges in cases where local prosecutors like yourself might decide not to file charges. What's your reaction to that move?
Well, I thought it was an interesting decision. You know, this law is going to be challenged in federal court. There's a number of constitutional implications to this bill, and they're just adding more legal challenges to this issue. The Marion County Prosecutor's Office is not a statutory office, it's a constitutional office, and they're trying to use statutes to usurp constitutional authority.
Would that change your approach if this law is enacted in this fashion?
No. No, I mean, we're going to continue to make sure that we do the right thing and also make sure that the actions that we take reflect the priorities of the people that we serve in the community.
Does that mean not prosecuting any cases? Would that be your approach? Would it be low on the priority list?
It'd be very low on the priority list. And again, you know, I think our job is to really focus on what the community wants us to focus on.
Prosecutor Mears has said he won't take any enforcement action at the county level. Depending on how that law looks and what kind of enforcement measures are or aren't available in a new law on abortion, what kind of action would you take?
Well, the fact of the matter is that the conversations are still ongoing with the legislature. And the fact remains that the prosecutor of the county is not an entity that makes the laws. And we have a prosecutor that categorically decides to ignore laws. That is not the role of the prosecutor. The prosecutor is in charge of enforcing the laws. Now, what I would do is I absolutely would enforce the law on a case-by-case basis. That's the role, and that's why we need a new prosecutor.
You'd prosecute abortion clinics if that were part of the state law that allowed prosecutors to do so?
I would use prosecutorial discretion to make decisions that make sense in that certain circumstance. It's absolutely time for a change, and that's exactly what I'm hearing from people across the county. Crime is taking over Indianapolis, and it's out of control. We've had record homicides, we've had shootings, we've had stabbings. Violence is overtaking our city.
What can the prosecutor's office do to change that, in your opinion?
Accountability. We have a prosecutor that fails to hold repeat violent offenders accountable. And we need to have somebody in that office that is going to set the tone that there is going to be accountability for criminals in our city.
What's your response to that?
We've made tremendous progress here in Marion County. If you look at our homicide conviction numbers, they've never been higher. If you look at our trial numbers, we've never convicted more people. But we also understand that we can't incarcerate our way out of this problem. And we've made significant strides in the community in terms of building that level of trust and making sure that the community has trust in the criminal justice system and the prosecutor's office.
All right, meantime, a new poll out this week from ARW Strategies shows Prosecutor Mears with a 46-27 lead over Cindy Carrasco, though 28% of those polled were still undecided. That same poll had some interesting findings in the race for Secretary of State, with Democratic candidate Destiny Wells with a slim lead over Diego Morales, 31-28 within the margin of error. The Libertarian candidate was 7%, still 34% undecided. We spoke with the Republican and Democratic Party chairs about that race last week. Some Democrats have suggested that they think the Secretary of State's race is winnable for Democrats this year. Do you have any concerns about your party's candidate being able to get the job done amidst some of the controversies that he's faced?
No, we've got a great team, Republicans top to bottom, and we're going to win up and down the ticket like we have in the past.
Do you think that's a winnable race for Democrats?
I think it is. Destiny Wells is a great candidate. She is a veteran. She's served in the Army for 19 years. She's an attorney. She's here in Indianapolis. She's putting together a great race. The key there is last month, the Republicans nominated Diego Morales. And this is a guy, for the viewers that are watching, who was fired from the Secretary of State's office twice under two different secretaries of state, and now he is the nominee to be Secretary of State.
He's disputed some of the specific details there.
But I think most Hoosiers would say if you were fired or let go from a job twice, maybe the same place where you work, going back to be, hey, I want to run the office, I want to be the CEO, probably not going to get hired, and I hope that Hoosiers see that.
All right, more of that interview from last week on our website. Up next, we're talking more about the abortion debate with Indiana in the national spotlight. We'll talk with our panel about this week's developments up next. And coming up later, recession or no recession. We'll have the latest economic numbers straight ahead.